Today we are going to be continuing our journey into the land of chords. We're actually going to be backtracking a little bit in the Mel Bay Modern Guitar Method Grade 1 book. We're going to go back to the page that introduces the A string. There's a little etude at the bottom of that called Chord Waltz. And the last time we did this, there was another piece called Chord Waltz, so there are two of them. So this is not Chord Waltz Part 2. This is another Chord Waltz, just for reference. Oh boy, that's confusing. But let's go ahead and learn it. So we have a really similar concept. We're still in 3. Hence the waltz, but we're going through a different chord progression. So the first one that we learn, C, E, and G. We've learned this before already. These are the opening notes to Michael Row the Boat Ashore, and it's also the opening notes to Come By Here. So we're familiar with those notes. We're going to hold those notes together, and you'll notice how my fingers naturally go into this this C shape anyway. But these are really the notes that we're going to be focusing on: C, E, and G. Then we have A minor. We have A, C, and E. That goes up into our F triad. That's the same triad from the builder. All open notes, B, G, and D for a G chord. That resolves back into your C. Now we're going to play an upper A minor chord. This is the same chord that we learned in Melancholy. Nice and easy. And then we have G7. We're familiar with this. We learned this in the first chord waltz. And then we just have our little final C, G, and a big C at the end. And notice how my middle finger just kind of falls into the E position, even though I'm not playing it. But they're all still hanging out. They're all still being a team. So let's play it again. Repeat it. Really fun. I really like that piece a lot. So if we're kind of like doing the project, meaning we have a piece of paper and we're writing down our chords, we now have a few new additions to that. And I would really recommend doing this because this is like the idea of like building our chord vocabulary. And I'm not necessarily doing this actually with the sheet music necessarily, with like notation paper, excuse me. I'm actually just doing this on like blank computer paper or something, and I'm just writing out the notes, and I'm just kind of looking at, okay, how do these chords blend into each other? One thing that comes up to me, and it's just worthy of noting, if we go back to that upper A minor, and then we look at the C major chord that we learned last time from the other chord waltz. Notice how there's only one note difference between those. And then if you want to build it out even more a little bit, if we add the F, notice how again we're just kind of blending these notes into each other. And it sounds really smooth. And that's just adding stuff to our chord vocabulary that we're trying to create. So I like to add so that's the writing, quote unquote, portion. I like to take these exercises and continue to add some of my own ideas into them. So one thing that I've been practicing with this one is, so when we're playing through the exercise, it's a good idea, as written, we're going to do pretty much all downstrokes. Excuse me. So we can do that. So what if we added an eighth note in there? So what if the first note of each chord we played twice as eighth notes? What if we doubled the second note? And of course, the third note, what if we doubled that? Excuse me, I'll retake that. And then, of course, what if we doubled all of the notes? One more time for me. Close. Apparently that's one that I need to work on a little bit more. So I'll do that. However, let's just keep rolling with the ideas. So what if we played one measure doubled and one measure as written? So we'll double the first measure and play the second measure as written. Let's do the opposite. And you can see that even just by, I'm not even changing any of the notes, unless I'm making a mistake accidentally, but that's how it goes. Notice how I'm not changing any of the notes. All I'm doing is I'm changing a little bit of the rhythm, and all I'm doing right now is I'm doubling some of the notes. So what if I tried to make it sound a little bit more classical? What if I did all eighth notes, but changed it up just a little bit? So I would encourage you to take this stuff and really start trying to use it as a vocabulary, right? And really this is the thing that I talk about in here pretty much all the time, is how do we take this stuff and how do we get creative with it? Because really, like, you know, the ultimate goal, and I say this a lot, the ultimate goal in like reading or tab or, you know, learning by ear or any of that stuff, really the the whole goal isn't to leave the music on the page. The idea is to get the music inside of you, right? So I mean, I would encourage you to, yeah, you should be doing the writing portion and making sure that you're writing down all of the notes and the chords and seeing how those blend together. That's a great project. But I would also really recommend getting this stuff memorized as soon as possible and getting it off of the paper and onto the guitar. And sometimes that can be a little bit scary to say I'm going to try to abandon the music, especially if you're just learning it. But I think it's a great thing to practice as far as just playing it through once or twice with the music and then turning it around and saying, how much of this do I actually have? And really trying to work past the mistakes and really say, okay, I can't quite remember this, but I know that it's somewhere, and search for it a little bit. Don't be too worried about playing a bunch of wrong notes in the process, because we're just learning. And that's the freedom that I try to give myself in here too. So thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're interested in seeing more stuff like this, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Give it a thumbs up if you're seeing it. And I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the video and to be here. It's really exciting and it's really fun. So thank you so much for being here. I'll talk to you soon.